Hello and welcome back to Where I Am podcast, where we strive to create a safe space for honest mental health discussions and encourage women to embrace their unique journeys. We're your hosts, Destiny.
And I'm Erika.
So today we're going to talk about friendships, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We thought this conversation would be interesting because we've been friends for 26 years. A lot of people that I've met don't carry the same friends that they had in elementary school into their adulthood, so I think that's rare. The friendships you have also play an important role in your mental health. According to the American Psychological Association, people who have friends and close confidants are more satisfied in their lives and they're less likely to suffer from depression. So today we're going to use our relationship as an example of how friendships evolve over time. I'm sure you'll see some parallels between our relationship and the ones you have in your own lives. And if you don't feel like you've been able to make long-lasting relationships, hopefully this will encourage you to take the step toward building stronger bonds with those around you. And we have our long-term bestie here. Her name is DyAnna.
Hello.
She's not shy.
She sounds so excited.
She's like, hello, they wrote me
I was forced into this.
So DyAnna, we met her back in the day. Her and I were in first grade together, and then Erika was in a different class. But I remember meeting Erika on the playground. And then in second grade, we were all in the same class together, and we kind of went throughout elementary school. We separated. Erika and I went to the same middle school, and then we all went to the same high school. And then after we graduated, we all went off to different cities and did different things. And we'll kind of talk about how those transitions worked. But what do you guys think about long-term friends? Do you have many long-term friends or any other friendships that have lasted this long?
The only other friendship that I have that's even close has been about 13 years. And I met her in undergrad, so none from like childhood.
Yeah, I have a few friends I've known for like maybe 10 years or so, but not 26 years, the amount of time that we all three known each other.
Mm-hmm.
The one running up probably be Esperanza, our friend.
Oh, yeah, so that's high school?
Because I met her in high school, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I kind of lied, but we're not as close. I'm still friends with Katrina, who...
Now y'all just making people up.
Yeah, I know. Now we're like
well, my friend Rhonda.
Not Rhonda.
We're like, wait a minute, this is not that special. No. This friendship isn't that
You're like, I don't even really care about y'all. I have a lot of 26-year friendships. I think that because we've known each other for so long, we've been able to see each other grow and develop. And who we were definitely at 6 or 7 is not who we are at 32. How old are y'all? 31?
31, baby.
Yeah, so... And we also have very different personalities. DyAnna, explain our personalities to everybody.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, Destiny is definitely the more reserved one. Always has been. Erika was always a little bit more like the fun one. I was definitely the wild card.
Excuse me?
I will admit that. You could be fun, but fun in your own home.
Fun in your sweater.
Exactly. When I needed a cozy night in, movie night, all the snacks, I was going to your house. When I needed to have those deep conversations, I was calling you, and we were going to have them over some brownies. But if I needed a hype woman, if I was wanting to be like, what are we doing tonight? I was calling Erika.
Get into some trouble. No.
Yeah.
Exactly. Getting into trouble is what y'all were doing.
That's definitely what I was doing, but my wing woman was Erika. You were who I would call and say, this is where I was when I needed my cover story.
Right. Or to pick us up from...
Right?
Actually, that was Erika that had to once pick up me and you.
Oh,
yeah.
That was the one time I got Destiny to go out with me, and she never did it again.
DyAnna was just a really bad influence. And it's crazy because she turned out so well, like she has a great job and husband and kids, nice little life. But back in the day, she was
I wouldn't say bad influence. I didn't make you do anything. I didn't make you.
You would make fun of me if I didn't. You're like, you want to stay home again? Yeah, I do. I'm fine. I'm okay.
We were
being
16.
at home.
We were supposed to be living our life, having fun.
But I felt like I'm at school all week with these kids. Like, I just need to relax. And you want me to go out on Friday, Saturday night and hang out some more? Hard pass.
Yes, we did.
We have grown a lot, as I said. And I think, our personalities are still pretty much the same, but we're much more mature.
I agree. We're all mild in our ways a little bit.
Oh, yeah. DyAnna doesn't even like to go out anymore. I go to her house and it's 9 o'clock and she's falling asleep after one glass of wine with the kids. They're tucked in. And so we have the TV down so low. And I'm like, damn, girl, this is so different from high school.
I know, because like I said, you didn't appreciate it then. That was my phase, and I immediately went from that to grandma. There was not
I feel
much
like
in
at
between.
16, though, it was too much. I think I'm a late bloomer, though, because, yeah, I wasn't interested in any of that. Even early 20s after we were 21. Okay, so as I mentioned, we all went to the same high school together. We were pretty close, tight-knit. And then when we went off to college, we all went our different ways. So Erika went to Denton, I went to Houston, and DyAnna went off to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, we kind of split up, and Erika and DyAnna sadly went their separate ways for a good 10 years. Do y'all want to tell us more about that?
Oh, Lord. I think it was honestly just us being teenagers and a dumb fight. And looking back, I really questioned, like, I think the timing of it led to such the long pause, I guess. Because to back up, we had a falling out in like May. So right before graduation. So I feel like if we had gone back to school, say in like August, like we probably would have at some point in that year of school being around each other, seeing each other, would have like gotten over our beef.
Right.
But I think because of the timing and because we did split up, it was just almost easy to just be like, oh, out of sight, out of mind. And like we weren't forced around each other, if that makes sense. So it was just we just kind of continued on.
Yeah, and I mentioned that just to be fully transparent so we don't, make anything seem like it's something that it's not. That you can fall out or not talk to someone for a long period of time and then reconcile and it be okay, still be friends. And that speaks to like the strength of a friendship. But it was an interesting time. Was it actually? It was 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So
maybe a little longer. Honestly.
When was it? Oh, it was your 30th birthday that we first saw each other.
Yeah.
Destiny's 30th birthday.
They stopped talking when we were 18, and so I would go home and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go hang out with DyAnna, and then sorry, I gotta leave because I gotta go see Erika, and then every time I come home, I have to see one or the other, and after kind of talking to both sides, I'm like, okay, they're not gonna reconcile now, so you just have to go with the flow. And I guess it wasn't until I turned 30 that we were all in the same room again. Mm-hmm. Was it that long?
Yeah, it was for Colorado, when we went to Colorado for your
Which is kind of crazy that there was never another event that we all needed to be together. It just so happened that we would travel. Like I would either do something with DyAnna or Erika.
Mm-hmm.
And it never worked out for us all to be in the same room. So when I turned 30, I think things had died down so much. There's been so many years that passed.
We needed 10 years.
I know. I'm like, yeah, I'm good now. I asked each person, are you okay if, Erika's at the event and DyAnna, I asked her, and I'm like, yeah, it's totally fine. And then they're chit-chatting the whole time. I'm like, what the hell? We could have been doing this 8 years ago. But, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to make it awkward.
Well, and that's why I say I think, like, just the timing of it. Because, like you said, there was no reason that we, like, were around each other for that entire time. Because you truly were, like, our mutual friend. Mm-hmm. So, not saying that, like, oh, you should have forced us into a room. But because we never came together, there was no reason for us to be like, what, like, are we still even mad at each other? We just kind of kept on keeping on.
Yeah, I guess that's true. After, like, the first year, I said, okay, whatever.
Like, it is what it is.
I was like, they're going to do what they want to do. And it all worked out, like you said. Yeah. Timing. But that just goes to show how things work out the way they need to.
Yeah, and I think that, too, I mean, speaking on the fact that we have known each other for so long and our friendship did go back, I think that's kind of why me and Erika were able to also kind of fall back into a friendship. Because at the end of the day, like, we have known each other since we were so little. We've seen each other, like truly grow, so it's almost a comfort to be like, okay, this person has known me since I was little, like that. You just kind of fall back into a rhythm.
Yeah, and to prove even further that it needed to work out this way, so I live in Houston, Erika now, lives in Wichita. DyAnna lives in Wichita, so they finished their college careers and moved back to Wichita. And they live a block from each other now. So
Yes,
it was meant to work out.
Less than a minute away.
We live closer now than we did even as
so
children.
Close. So yeah. And I'm the one that is 6 hours away.
Right.
All alone in this cold world.
That means you need to move now, DyAnna.
Yeah, for sure. But to go back to how friendships change over time, I think that even though I stayed friends with both of them, our friendships have evolved. There's been ebbs and flows, I'll say. Times when you don't hang out with someone as much, you don't call them or talk to them as much, you're going through your own things. In college, you're stressed out. You may be dating someone that, y'all are going through your own problems, and you're also trying to get all your schoolwork done, work your part-time or full-time job, so there's just a lot happening. And then I even remember when DyAnna got married, she had kind of strict rules on when she could talk, and maybe not rules, but she just had certain things. Like, I would get off at 7 p.m. If I were to call her, she would say, I'm eating dinner with my husband. And that was it. Like, she's, she didn't call me back or anything like that. She's just like, girl, I'm busy. And I remember that time, too, when she was getting her doctorate. She would only really call me at 11 p.m. when she was studying, and she was driving from her house to the library or whatever. So that's the only time that we were communicating for a certain period of time. And you just kind of roll with it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. It doesn't mean you're not close. It's just we got different schedules, different things to do, and it's not the same when we're going to talk for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. No, I do think, though, that in some ways, you and I, because we may have had our periods, but we've maintained our friendship consistently, have almost had maybe a little bit more growing pains, I guess you could say, than like with me and Erika. We took that long pause, so we were able to kind of grow, work on ourselves, and then come back. And it's kind of given me a new sense of appreciation for our friendship, because I can look at it kind of from like a different set of lenses, where I feel like sometimes me and you have had to like have those deep conversations and like really grow, make sure we're growing together, like almost in a sense like with your relationship with a spouse. We've had to really kind of do work. And I think I've told you at one point, like, I've probably done more work with you than I probably have with my husband. And because it's been such a longer relationship that I've had with you. And so we've had to kind of go through many more growing pains to be where we are.
Girl, if you love me, just say that, okay?
But
yeah, DyAnna and I are... She's like, I feel so much closer to you than my husband. Like, you didn't have to tell everybody.
Okay, why am I on this episode?
Now Erika's feeling left out. I'll take you to brunch next week, girl.
No, but DyAnna and I are polar opposites, and things just work out the way they're supposed to, because there have been times where I'm thinking, we are so different. How are we best friends? But we kind of just vibe off of each other and finish each other's sentences, and like when we're really in a groove, I'm like, okay. And then there are some days, not now, but when we were younger, that when we're talking about something, we have completely different points of view. And we had to learn how to now say, okay, I wouldn't handle it that way, and respect the way that someone's going to handle it, instead of trying to impose your views on the other person. Because we did a lot of that when we were younger. Well, you should do this, or you should tell your parents or your mom this, or why are you acting like that? But she's not me, and vice versa. So she's never going to handle something the way I would handle it. Every once in a while, we will ask, like, what's your advice? Because we have different strengths. And so if I'm trying to stand up to somebody, I'm like, yeah, what do you think? Should I be offended by this? Should I be upset by this? And she's like, yeah, girl, that's a problem. Or if she's trying to, I don't know, be empathetic to some kind of situation, she's like, do you think I should bring this up? I'm like, maybe hold off. And so that's how we work. It's a really good flow. With Erika, it's very just smooth, because she has a very even keel personality, I feel like. She kind of goes with the flow. So she's just chilling.
Yeah.
Like she'll adjust times. She don't care where we're going. As long as we're having a good time, then she's there. So I don't think we've had to make as many adjustments over a period of time. Like, it hasn't been as strained during times. We just pick up where we left off.
Because I feel like Erika's like the kind of, if you think about it on a spectrum, Like, me and you are polar opposites. We're on the other side of the spectrum. Erika's in the middle, so we both can easily like flow with Erika because she's kind of like in the middle. But then me and you sometimes,
there you go.
That's when we butt heads, but somehow we do still work.
Look at you over here.
Yeah.
Giving great examples. A spectrum.
So do y'all think that us being friends for so long, that it played a part in helping any type of mental health issue or any anxiety that you have in life or any problems in life or anything like that?
I think Destiny's contributed to half of my problems.
I was going to say that.
I was the problem.
Because
my mouth closed.
I saw it in your face that that's what you wanted to say about me, so I just had to say it first. I knew it.
All my stress is because of him.
This is where me and you are just weirdly connected because I just know. Well, I think that now, though, we are able to like have a lot deeper conversations. And I can appreciate that more because before, I mean, which granted, we didn't know those things about our own self. You know, we didn't know why we were reacting or why maybe something was like affecting us the way it was. Like we couldn't quite express it. So now we kind of can. And I find a new appreciation in that we can kind of have those discussions and look back and be like, yeah, you know, back then, like really I was going through all of this and that's probably why I was acting that way. And it just, we can almost even look back at our friendship when we were younger and see that in a different light.
No, I think now being able to talk to you openly about a lot of things that are going on in my life has really helped. I don't know younger because we didn't go that deep, but now I think especially there's something about 30, late 20s and turning 30 and especially having kids where you're doing a deep dive. Because when you have your children and they're a reflection of you, you're like, oh wait, my child's doing that. Is they getting it from me? Well, then why do I do that? And so then you're starting to think back, well, maybe it was from my childhood. Maybe it was from this and that. So as you're reflecting, you're naturally going to call your friends and say, okay, well, do you think that, kind of evaluate your life with them, especially because they knew you when you're little and they know your family as well. And then there's things that we learn about each other all the time still as we become able to articulate it.
Kind of like how just the other day you and I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh, the situation that kind of happened with you that you kind of froze. And I was like, oh no, I would have been, immediately
we were talking
confrontation
about, I went to a bar and, okay, like we said, I'm more reserved, quiet, introverted. DyAnna's like guns a-blazing. When we were younger, she's more chill now. But I went to a bar the other day with a friend and I was standing there like just chilling, relaxing, vibing. And this guy was kind of looking at me and I looked over, but he just stayed there. Then he came over and walked in front of me and I thought he was going to lean in to say anything like, hello, what's your name? Or give a compliment. And he kissed me on my cheek and immediately walked away. I was just shocked. I didn't even know what to do. He just walked into the crowd. And when I told DyAnna, she's like, what? I would have been fighting him. And I was like, I didn't even know what to do. He walked off so fast. What was I supposed to do? Box him in the middle of the club?
I think she said throw your drink at him.
Yeah, I don't want to throw my drink. And we said Erika would have been like, oh, no, you gonna buy me a drink? Like she would go with the flow. She's going with the flow. And anyways, all that story to say, we all three respond differently. But I was telling Destiny, like, after we kind of had that conversation, I kind of was thinking, because we were talking about the fight or flight response. And I was like, my fight or flight just stays ready. Like it stays ready. And I was telling her even now, I still have revelations where I'm like, you know what? I really think that speaks to so much of my childhood because I feel like I never quite knew what kind of confrontations were going to occur around me, with me, just throughout my childhood and in my house sometimes, that I think I just kind of stay in a setting of like,
you stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly. It's not a good thing. I'm sure that's probably why I've got problems. I stay in a just fight or flight mode.
So you're in a fight mode though, because it's fight or flight. So you fight.
Yeah,
more on the fight side.
Yes, my fight or flight mode stays activated, and it's the fight.
Okay, so to respond to that, my flight mode is always activated, meaning that I told them that a few weeks ago I'm going to be in a friend's wedding and we went to New Orleans and there's 6 of us, and long story short, there was about to be a fight between other people at this parade over a spot up against the railing. And after they were going back and forth for so long, I finally just told my friend whose bachelorette party it was like, okay, I'm going to need to walk away from this situation because this is too much. And in my head, I'm like, I'm a mother. I'm not trying to go to jail for fighting over a spot at a parade. And she's like, okay, I understand. But I was ready to flight. I was ready, not fight, flight, ready to leave. And that's always how I've been. I'm always big on walking away. And I know some people would think, oh, it's a weakness. And I'm like, no, if I don't want to be involved, then peace out. I don't need to fight in order to defend my honor. I don't want to be hit, man. I don't want to be anywhere near it. But it just depends on how you look at it. Erika,
And I
what do you
think
feel
that
like you have?
freeze. I think there's fawn
Oh,
also.
fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, so
Yeah.
then I froze at the club, and I left. I flew at the parade. DyAnna's always ready to fight. So
Pretty
Erika,
much.
I think I probably freeze or a fight. Or probably, I think it just depends. Because, I mean, if someone is going to hurt someone that I care about or love, then, like, if they're about to get jumped or something, then I'm going to put something in.
So
But
there's actually fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fight
What's
is obviously more aggressive, more confrontational. Flight is avoiding, deflecting. Freezing is you just freeze. Fawn, it says no boundaries, like just kind of go with the flow, say yes, like more people pleasing. So maybe just kind of trying to appease the situation.
Are you fawn?
I don't think I would just people please and just let everyone have their own way.
I think this goes back to, though, just Erika kind of being in the middle, where she kind of is gonna...
Nothing, yeah, most things
Like,
that
I could see her
upset
getting
about,
upset if it's depending on the situation. But I feel like she's gonna also, if that situation's not... if it's not worth it for her, she's gonna just be like,
Right.
I'm not doing this. So I feel like for her, it's a little bit more like really situation dependent, where for me, I'm probably gonna be like riled up. And most of the time I stay riled up. And kind of like you said, like that's where it's like, you know, how you call me whenever you know you need to get a little riled and you need that boost. I have to call you to be like, okay, talk me off the ledge a little here. Again, Erika's kind of in the middle. It just depends. She's not always going to come out swinging, but if she needs to, she will.
Right. I agree.
Okay.
So, DyAnna, you have 2 kids and Destiny has 1. Do y'all feel like y'all's transition into motherhood, that kind of changed your friendship, maybe closer, more sentimental, or did it just stay the same? I imagine it would change a little bit.
Yeah, I do think it kind of changed a little bit. And I mean, I had my son, he's 4 years older than Joe. So, I mean, I was kind of a mom for a little bit first. So I can't remember specifically to say like, oh, you know, I don't want to say Destiny wasn't understanding or anything of that sense, but we were in different phases of life. So I'm sure that maybe created not problems, because I don't think there was issues, but we were just kind of, again, having to find a new footing, I guess, for friendship, because I was in one phase of life and she was in another. And I think when you did have Joe, then it was kind of like, okay, now you can kind of understand all these things. And so that probably did bring us closer. I mean, we don't call each other and be like, hey, give me your advice on this and that, but we will kind of offer
whenever Joe
it.
was a baby, for sure.
He did. I don't remember everything.
I feel like you naturally gave me a lot of advice. You just like, you should do this or you should do that. If I was telling you he doesn't feel well, or you would tell me what to buy or what to do. So I think that's natural.
Okay, so I guess maybe it just happened more naturally that we didn't realize that we were like doing those things. And I mean, I know even the other day with the situation, I asked you if you wanted advice, and I kind of gave you a little bit of what I do with my kids. But I do think we kind of have a different understanding sometimes when it comes to that stuff. And I think luckily we both parent a little bit similar. Destiny's probably a little bit more of a gentle parent than I am.
You think I'm more gentle?
I'd like to be a gentler parent, but it's hard.
I think you're more gentle.
I think I have too, so it feels like way harder to try to, my patience runs thin very quickly. Maybe if I had one, I'd be on your level of gentle, but I don't, and I think because we kind of are, like we discussed family, it is easy to just, when we're together. You know, I feel comfortable. Like if you get onto my child, I'm not gonna trip about it. And not that I've ever had to really get onto Joe, but I have no problem telling him no. But also, that's my little buddy, and we about to wild out. And you're not about to tell me I'm not bringing him no cookies or anything. So
anyway, she said all that to say that when we get together, I think there is a different dynamic. If you're with someone that doesn't have kids, I don't really like for Erika. Erika has not spent a lot of time with Joe because when she comes to visit, she comes on weekends that he's not there because she's naturally going to want to go out and do things, right? And it's hard to do that when you have a small child.
Yeah.
And because he goes with his father, we have a schedule, so that's how we work it out. Other friends that don't have kids, it just makes sense. If you're inviting me to go have a drink, I can't bring my 4-year-old. But DyAnna, she always has her kids with her, so when we hang out, it's fine. Like, we're hanging out at the house, they're watching movies, or in the backyard. And so there is that nice rhythm where I know that I can bring my baby and they'll be playing together and it's cool. And they're very understanding. Not that Erika's not, but like I said, she hasn't spent a lot of time with him. If I go over there and he's messing with stuff, or if anything happens, you're like, yeah, we have 2 kids, we know. They break stuff, they
you almost
jump
feel
around,
bad.
they're
Like
yelling.
I would feel almost bad making Erika go to dinner or lunch with me and my 2 children, and they're just being wild. Because then you're like, okay, I'm
Right.
interrupting your peace and quiet because, like you said, yeah, like you said, we're used to it. You know, when you're a mom, you're used to it. You're just like, whatever. Like, I know there's been times we've been on the phone and like one of mine is yelling and we're like, hold on. And I'm like getting on to them. And then we're talking for 5 minutes and you're like, hold on, Joe. You're like, get him a juice. And we just will continue our conversation where before you had Joe probably was like, this child's acting crazy. Like, I'll just call you later.
Yeah,
But
I would just
now,
say, okay, call you later. Because I can't think. I still can't think. But we would never talk if I had to wait until it was fully quiet.
Now we have these conversations and we just also are like, hold on, talk to the child, come back. And then we're like back and forth. We're like, oh, hey, say hi to the Destiny real quick. Okay. And proceed with our conversations. So it's different. And I get what you're saying because whenever I go hang out with Erika, I don't bring them. I'm like, this is my time, peace.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do that to her.
Exactly. And before I had a child, when people had a child, that's how I felt. Like if they would invite me to do things and they brought their kid, I'm like, or no, not if they brought their kid, but if they're inviting me to a birthday party or something, I'm like, I'm here and I don't have a child with me, so I'm just kind of sitting here while everybody's running after their kid. So you feel a little bit out of place.
I think because I've always grown up taking care of kids, that's kind of always been the environment that I've been used to. But I mean, I do want those times where it's just me and my friend having those, conversations, because if one of us are distracted, then maybe I won't say something that I needed to say or something like that. I don't mind hanging out with kids, but I do need some time with just my friend too.
All right, you say you don't mind it. Next time you come, we're going to be going to the
I hung out
trampoline
with
park.
Joe last time. Joe took photos on Snapchat together.
I would say about 90%, 85% of our interactions, we plan them like, oh, we're going on a trip or we're going to do something and he's not there.
That's true. True.
Where I feel like our interactions, we plan them
with the kids.
Yeah.
So what would you guys tell your kids, like the importance of friendships, like based off of our friendship?
That's an interesting question. I feel like I've kind of thought about that a little bit because I feel like my son, he's in 2nd grade now. So now's a time, like, if he's going to develop good friends for life, like, this is kind of going to be the time. And I haven't really had any conversations with him about it, but I think that I would just kind of tell him, like, there's going to be some friends that are going to come and go in your life, and that's okay. They're going to just be there for a season. And then there may be some that are going to be as important to you as your sibling, and the ones that you find that are special and kind of you are able to have that relationship with, that it's very important to hold on to them.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I would also tell Josiah just to follow his gut and his intuition, because when you're younger and when you're older, you can easily be like, no, I don't like the person. But when you're younger, you may be in that stage of trying to people please and, oh, I just want to fit in and things like that. But if you can sense something is off, we can all feel when something's off. Just remove yourself from the situation. You don't have to be ugly or rude to them, but you don't need to carry every person with you, and you won't. Like, you're going to have someone that you used to hang out with all the time in high school or elementary, and then you'll go off one day. And then sometimes it is sad. I'll see people on Facebook. I'm like, oh my gosh, we used to get together all the time, and now I haven't talked to you in years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just life. There's a season and there are different stages where you maybe needed that friend. Maybe you needed that
Right.
person to be really close with them in junior high, but you're not going to carry them with you your whole life.
Yeah.
So I was listening to another podcast where they were talking about friendships, and the woman on the podcast was saying that she really, in her adulthood, doesn't have any friends right now, that it's just not feasible for her to have friends. What do you feel about when women say things like, and not necessarily her, but women in general, when they say, oh, I don't have a lot of female friends? Does it make you feel any type of way? Because I know some people say, oh, that's a red flag.
No, I don't feel a type of way because I can relate. I don't feel like I have a whole lot of friends. I have just like ones that I talk to regularly, probably like a handful.
Yeah, I think being in my 30s, I do recognize the importance of having friendships. So if you do find yourself not having friends, then I would advise maybe going, I don't know where you would even meet friends now. Maybe like
I feel like a lot of people meet their friends at work.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, work, or maybe like join like a nonprofit organization, something like that. Because I do think that friendships do help you that, romantic relationships can't, or like family relationships can't. So I do think that it is an important in every woman's life, especially because we can relate to each other, to women's struggles.
I do think it's hard too. Like after you get to a certain point, it's hard to meet friends. It's like you got to meet your friends at work. Next thing you know, your best friend's a 70-year-old. I do
You
have
have
a
a
friend,
70-year-old best friend?
I tell him he's my BFF, but I tell him he also doesn't know what that means. But no, not outside of work. It's just at work. I just give him a hard time. But two of like my really close friends, they're people from work. And that's obviously how our friendship started. But other than that, I don't know how I would have made friends. Because, I mean, when you get into your 30s, especially you get married, you have kids, sometimes you're only going from work to home, school activities. So I think your friendships are based off of different things. Where before, like for us, like I feel like our friendship was just based truly off of who we wanted to be friends with. We didn't have all these other elements of our life where now it's like you start to become friends with your kids' teammates' mom because, y'all are around each other a lot and y'all start to like, oh, kind of connect on we both parent the same way or both have the same parenting ideas. The next thing you know, y'all are friends.
Right. Have you ever heard the saying, like, friends are the family that you choose? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think, especially for me, like you guys kind of know my family background, and so it's not always been the greatest. And so, especially like throughout childhood and in high school, like y'all very much were my chosen family. Y'all very much were the people that I at times considered more my family than even the people in my household.
Oh, that's so sweet to hear.
So,
Tissue box, where is it?
Wipe the tears. So I do agree with that. And I mean, even now, here we are now still friends and kind of like how I said, like with Erika, even though we took that pause because at one point she was very much like family, it was easy to kind of fall back into it because it was like a comfort and it was just like reuniting with a family member in a sense.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Even if you do have good relationships with your family, you can go out and choose the people that you want to be a part of your life. And I feel like we are a family at this point. The fact that we take time out of our schedules to hang out, to be there for each other. I mean, there's some people that live close together that don't even see each other. So if you're driving hours to get to someone's birthday party or to give them a Christmas gift or whatever it is, which we've done, I think we've done a good job at keeping up with each other. And that takes a lot of effort.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, even my kids, they call you Thea. They don't know. They haven't discovered that we're not biologically related yet.
Yeah, I do agree with that statement, and I think that DyAnna being on the show is an example of that because usually when you have family, it's part of your support system. And the fact that DyAnna said yes to being on the show without hesitation, maybe she had some, but she didn't say it. You know, she told us that she would. I think that speaks for itself that we are family at this point.
Thank you again, DyAnna, for being here. You're a trooper.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
So thanks again for listening to our episode. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on our socials at Where I Am Podcast. And if you want us to discuss a specific topic, you can also email us at whereiampodcast@gmail.com. And if you love what you heard, don't forget to share and leave a review.